Hi there. So I'm Laurence Boomert, and why am I sitting here with a pen and a paper and an open mouth in front of you? And the reason is because I've got a plan B, because we're going to need a plan B, because the current system is so fragile under its own unsustainability because of its so overdue address of dysfunctional, unsustainable systems that we're now in the age of consequence. We now have things falling apart. We now have a financial system which is horrifically ruined, which is managing to keep gasping and fake itself back into some kind of last bit of life by printing trillions of dollars of counterfeit funny money. And we're at the point where we realise we've got a corrupt parasitical financial system that's been built on fraud and incompetence, and it's had its day, and it can only go so much further. The volatility in the world at the moment is horrendous, and it goes through into all sorts of areas about key areas of infrastructure we have come to rely on for our daily bread and for our daily living. And unfortunately, because we've run so many things on fraud and kind of bullshit, dare I say, and great marketing, we've kind of run out of steam. But in the meantime, the planet has been ignored and trashed, and that's coming back on us. Now, this isn't new. Back in 1992, there was the World UNCED Conference. It was run by the United Nations, and it was called affectionately from the sidelines Earth's Last Chance. This isn't new, this stuff about unsustainability, about climate change, about environmental devastation, or about social injustice, or about massive poverty in the world, and like all these things, and growing population, dare I say. These things were tabled and put on in 1972 at the first United Nations Conference on Environment and Development, and they revisited it in 92, 20 years later, and they, in no uncertain terms, made it clear in their language that we face a crisis that threatens all life on planet Earth, and we have to mobilize all resources to address it. And then our governments came back and did nothing. Even worse, we have a government here in New Zealand at the moment that is still slavishly following heart and soul some far right-wing ideology of laissez-faire, economics, globalization, and other nonsense, even while it's obviously lost its pants and running around looking like a fool in public, and that's all they've got is a last greedy hand grab at our assets and that way of doing things, and they don't give a damn about the environment. They've made that very clear. So that's where we're at. So where do you think that will lead to? What kind of response is that going to garnish us? A very poor one, an inadequate one. Like Enron, like the Titanic, like in New Orleans, all these places teach us that people are so arrogant they don't think that the impossible could happen, that the unthinkable, the unpleasant can happen. But we are unfortunately bound for that. After 5 decades of environmentalists running around saying, stop, or bad things will happen, well, this is the future and bad things are happening. And we've got a convergence of volatility and fragility in the planet. Nations can be, half wiped out by weather conditions these days, like Australia is getting to understand. You can have weather bombs, you can have massive floods, you can have wicked droughts, you can have horrific fires. Once you mess with the climate, once you mess with your water and fundamentals of the biology of the planet, you're in trouble. We've got all a convergence of things coming at the same time. And people going about 2050, bad things will happen in 20 or 30 or 40 years. Bad things are happening now. And what are we going to do? I've thought about this for over 25 years. I've worked on every type of solution for averting disaster I could possibly come up with. And so I know a little bit about this. The great news are there's fabulous solutions. We could be doing them today. We can rebuild, redesign every household, every neighbourhood, every school, every business, every product and system to be sustainable, to be ethically produced, to be sustainable, to be, whatever it needs to be, non-toxic, biodegradable, reusable, to have a net benefit. There's people now talking about building cities that will actually have a net benefit for the environment. So all it is a creativity challenge, an imagination challenge, a determination challenge. And we have to do it. We have to do it or we suffer, and we've got to cope with what we've done. And we do it so that we can build a sustainable future, because anything else is putrid and it's worst. It's ridiculous and it's life-threatening, and it's not pleasant. It's no fun to live with.